The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to level with you guys. I'm trying real hard. As you can see. I don't know, like I suppose your listeners won't be able to see, but I've even, I went next level with the Zoom chat and the virtual background just to fill you guys.
Dude,
use your imagination.
Yeah, like it is giving me so many good vibes, like worth it, I would say.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
You know what it reminds me of, bro? It reminds me, I don't know if you've played GTA Vice City. It reminds me so much.
Oh, dude, thank you for bringing that up. Hell yeah. It's like Miami Vice, GTA Vice City.
Yes.
Stuff about childhood, right? I mean, I'm sure we're similar ages, right?
No, you and Nas would be closer in age, I think.
Yeah, what's it?
Like,
Yeah, what? I mean, I
I'm the
don't know if you
older
guys want to
one.
drop your age on air.
I was born in 96. I was born in 96.
No way. Okay. I was born like 5 years before that.
Okay, then you
91.
and I are more. We're the millennials.
Okay.
I think you're next gen, aren't you, Nas? Or are you just on the cusp of like the millennial bracket?
Almost. I think 4 years shy, actually.
Dude, that's wild. Well, it's cool. I mean, we're all 90s kids, man. Yeah. That's kind of, I mean, you bring that up, the fact that you brought up like Vice City and stuff, like, it really is like, this is kind of like a homage to like our childhood, like growing up in the 90s. I suppose, obviously, my childhood, but a lot of other people can relate, you know, our sort of age bracket. And, yeah, man, just trying to push those like nostalgic moments.
Dude, you are succeeding at that, dude. Like you're killing it, dude. You know, and that question that you were asking when we first began about where we're from, where are you from, bro?
Yeah, I'm from Eastern Cape, Makanda, Grahamstown. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude.
No way.
Born and
dude.
raised, basically.
I don't know why I thought you were from Durban.
Dude, I got a good few friends. I mean, people often come to me and they're like, yo, dude, you from Cape Town, right? Or like, you from Durban. But I guess, like, people will be surprised, like, the kind of creatives that come out of this area, like Makanda, formerly known as Grahamstown. Like, yeah, dude, like, there's the arts festival. It's like this university here. So, like, there's a lot of access to, like, dope, like, art and music. So like, yeah, a lot of my friends are like even more like, for me, are just like my heroes. I mean, I'm not going to name names because they're going to get embarrassed, but yeah, dude, some of my mates are killing it in the art scene. It's crazy.
I would say that it would be stranger if you weren't a creative person coming from that area.
That's true, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess some people don't expect it, like, from this area, like Eastern Cape, small town. But yeah, I mean, for me, it makes total sense the way I am right now.
Dude, you know, we had, I think we've had 2 bands that originated from the Eastern Cape, like on this very same show. And basically,
For real, who was it?
sure,
If I know.
dude. I think it was,
If you can, I'm sorry to put you on the
yeah,
spot.
no, it's okay, bro. It was, if I'm not mistaken, Chaos Doctrine, if I'm not mistaken. Their drummer was from the Eastern Cape. But basically, the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'll just need to go research, dude. There's just been so many episodes, and yeah. But basically, the reason why I bring this up is because when we spoke to them, they mentioned that, you know, the scene in the Eastern Cape, it's like it's sort of similar to Durban in that everyone, you'll find sort of a member, one guy in like 5 different bands, and people like share band members and stuff.
Dude.
Is it really like that,
Dude,
bro?
that is, oh my God, I can relate to that like 100%. Yeah, it's like you got like one drummer, and you're just like, I guess we got to share him, you know, like, which is cool. I mean, it makes a lot of networking possible and stuff. But yeah, I must say it can be tricky when you've got like such a small pool. But sorry to flip it around, but like, tell me a bit about yourselves. I mean, this is my thing. I just need to know a bit about you guys before we move on. Like, what is the things you guys are doing? For me personally, is something I've been in the music industry for like 10 years now in South Africa, and I feel like when I came across you guys, I was like, man, this is what I've been talking about for a while. We need someone to like punt the underground stuff in SA, because having toured around, played a lot, there's so many cool people playing music, doing really cool things, but on the radio we're not often hearing that, you know, we're not seeing that. So like you guys are filling in that blank like perfectly for me.
Oh, dude, you're gonna make us cry. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate that. It means a lot, bro. But yeah, just to answer the question, dude, like I think Megan can go first. I mean, yeah, like me, tell us about yourself. Yeah.
Oh, you first. I want to know too.
Start from the beginning.
Okay, so with me, obviously I'm Nasipi, and I basically started Sludge like 4 years ago. And then yeah, dude, I also play with, there's another host of ours, Marcel, who isn't here. So I pretty much play in a band with him as well, Thorns of Ivory. I play drums. And yeah, dude, like I've just been making music probably when I was in grade 9, which was in 2010. And then yeah, dude, I pretty much, you know, the beginning of Sludge was mainly because of what you literally just said, and that radio isn't really covering, you know, the artists that we care about.
That it's the biggest tragedy in SA, I think, dude, because like it makes South African music just sound so flat and boring. When I mean, not all of it, but I mean, like, dude, there's so many KIF people out there, like in South Africa at the minute, you know?
Yeah, like I was telling Megan as well, like on our 4 year episode, that it's sort of like, you know, as much as radio is playing 90% South African music as they said they would, it's just not.
Yeah.
We're not hearing our bands. You're not hearing the local bands and stuff. So it's like, what? Let's try then maybe have a platform where, you know, they get to share their stories, because radio isn't doing that for us. So yeah, dude, that's pretty much me.
I know, like, I guess I suppose, like, to correct my statement, like, I have heard dope stuff on the radio that is South African produced, like, that is true. But I guess there's so much that I have also seen that just never makes it. Like, I mean, I think of bands that were around that I got to see that blew, like, the top of my head right off, you know, like, who just, like, were cool, but then they just faded away. They never got any airtime, and it shocked me. So, like, I think with the age of podcasts now, we've got people like you guys doing the good work and like letting people who perhaps normally wouldn't get a chance to get a chance, you know, which is great. It's great.
Hey, thanks, bro. And we just really appreciate having, you know, artists like yourself as well, dude. You know, basically adding to that experience, dude, and just enhancing it, dude. So yeah, thank you, bro. Shout out to you and what you're doing.
Oh, no stress. Oh gosh, I think we should also be thanking each other. So thank you and thank you. And thank you. That'll be the whole podcast. We just gush over each other. I love it. I love it. Is that a tricky question, Megan? Sorry, should I just? We can rewind.
I don't know. Like I'm here to listen and learn. So
Yeah,
I don't wanna,
actually.
like, this is me.
Okay, confession session. I tried to figure out like more about you guys when I kind of got a little bit of intel, and then I just went onto Facebook and tried to find you guys. But I mean, I can tell you guys like love music, so I'm happy to be here, and I've been excited for this for a minute. Like I'm super stoked.
Dude, we've been singing Juice to each other. I mean, Cream Soda Fever Dream to each other for weeks. We like send a voice and just
Juice.
Oh, it's the best.
It was like the first song that kind of Cream Soda Fever Dreams. I like released it a while back, but it was like I've been sitting on this project for like a year before I released anything. And so I had this character, man. I would go out into town, like this, you know, the whole charade, like just dressed to the max, acting like, you know, like this crazy dude. And people just thought I was weird. But what I was doing was developing his voice, his sound. And that Juice song came a year later. And like, it was the first thing that I knew that I was like, okay, finally I've got the music to back up Tamagotchi, you know? And you guys have had that song stuck in your head. And dude, I'll tell you this, like mixing that thing down and mastering it, I ended up hating it. I stopped listening to that thing. Like, I think I listened to it today for the first time in ages. And actually, I mean, now it's cool. But yeah, It's a real earworm, that one.
Even the video, dude. Like, what sort of went? What was the planning behind that?
Oh my God. If I a plan is you use the word plan, I mean we kind of my good friend Shalom, who's an amazing artist, Shalom Mushwana. He came down also from Grahamstown, Makanda. Like we went to school together, and he's now in the sort of film industry in Joburg. And he came down for the holidays, and we just like sat in at my house and just had the camera out, and we were just having a great time, just him and I, just shooting like around the garden area, trying to get some cool shots, and we just edited that thing in like a few days, and then we just popped it out. So it was like it was for me just the way I like it, very immediate, not too much, not overthinking it too much. Obviously trying to be careful with the end product, but just making stuff and then like boom, popping it out. Like that's my way.
Dude, like just to sort of paint a picture for someone who may have actually not really listened to the song, what would you say in your words, what would you say the song is about? Besides the title of the song.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I suppose it is pretty abstract if you don't actually know. I mean, I try and write songs without giving too much away. I want people to be able to access it on their own level. But I mean, it honestly just looks like a dude who's like talking about cream soda, drinking cream soda, swimming in a bath of cream soda. But some of the verses kind of explore like drug abuse. I mean, being in the music industry, you see it; it's everywhere. But it's also like the duality. Like, I mean, it's like I like to have this balance of seriousness and like comedy, where like you're engaging with the work, and it'll make you chuckle. But it can also be like kind of have a serious spin, and that kind of weird gray area where those two things are marrying. Like that's for me where when I was studying at art school, when I've been making music, has always been the place I've gravitated towards. Get a smile on someone's face, and then boom, like flip it. And I feel like you can really like con people, I suppose. Maybe con's not the right word, but you can really like get people caught off guard, and then you can access things in a very interesting way. So that's basically what that piece is about, but also visually. I mean, it's meant to be kind of weird. Like I'm meant to look like a fool who thinks he's cool, you know? That's kind of the aesthetic, I guess, for anyone who's listening. But actually just go check it out on YouTube.
Talking about the blending of the serious with the humorous, can we talk about Lush? Because that's kind of like this bedroom Vogue interlude with this undertone of like, it's got some serious comments going on. Like,
you guys are on it. You guys are on it.
It's like you were talking about fake solidarity, and I'm just like, and then I listened to it, and I was like, yes, yes.
Man, you guys are really on it. Okay, so Lush from. Damn, like, oh God. From the beginning, I don't try and like write songs. I know it sounds a bit like contrived, but I try and like get a sound and play. And often that's why some of my songs are really short, because I'm trying to capture this like a feeling I have or an experience. And with Lush, it's on so many levels that it's almost like I've only noticed retroactively, like looking back on what I was touching on. Like the front cover is me with lipstick and my nails done, very Vogue, you know, gold sequin top, very sort of pushing gender normative stereotypes, which is a part of me. That is definitely a part of me. It was way back before even Tamagotchi-JEEZUS. But then Lush in itself, the song, I mean, it's a short song. I could sing the lyrics right now. It's like, you've got that pink skin burnt in red. It's such a shame. It's Lush. And what that is, pink skin burnt in red, is it's like we live in South Africa, right? And like I don't try and be too covert in my like politics, but it's definitely politically motivated, like whiteness and everything that white people have in this country. And we've all heard our parents, like, or like if you like from someone like my background, I've heard parents and family members spew nonsense, and it's about privilege, and it's about like that the fickleness of like white skin. Like, I know it doesn't have that kind of agenda, but that's what it's about. It's my own engagement with like realizing everything I've had, and every time I feel a little bit like jaded or upset about my own life, I have to keep on reminding myself. And so that's where that lush comes, that weird like Vogue, the gold, the like sad boy, that element, that duality, like, yeah. So that's kind of where that sits.
I think it's very refreshing to hear your sound because it has these psychedelic textures and this warm tone, but there's also this like really meta synth going on. But like when like I've heard you call it bedroom pop a lot, and I think especially as that genre has developed, it's crossed over into like quite murky waters. But when I see you, I actually believe like this is bedroom pop. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I've never been a good one for like labeling genres. Like, I don't even know. Like, someone told me this one song was a rockabilly pop song. I don't know what the fuck that was, but I just, so for me, bedroom pop is the closest thing, I guess, that it links to. But honestly, I'm constantly trying, and this is even before this project, like I try and open up to like a lot of genres. And it's not because I'm trying to do some crazy, I'm not trying to be this guy who like tries and brings it all in. It's just that for me, creatively, it's boring, and I just love so much of different genres that I don't want to like not be able to access them because I've committed to being in a project that's like a punk band or like, you know what I mean? So yeah, bedroom pop, I would say I call it bedroom pop because it is dreamy a little bit. And it's also, this project is all in my bedroom. It kind of took flight under lockdown where I was no longer playing to an audience and audiences which used to like feed me. Like after 10 years, all I had, like I used to love playing for people and showing people our work, and that used to give me a kick for real, like a drug. And then when that dropped, I was so paranoid. I was paranoid of who I was going to feel like when such a huge part of my identity, performing for others, was just stripped away. And then it forced me in lockdown to find a virtual audience. And once I started, and it was the first time I did Instagram ever. I'm such an old bully, like, I always resisted Instagram, but I found like with Instagram and popping little videos on and little songs on, like I was getting strangers giving me that same affirmation, which is what I loved. And it was the best thing for this project, was to be locked up in my bedroom, forced to learn how to make beats. I've only been doing that for like a year. So like it really helped develop and like grow this project for sure.
Like I see that in Piccolo Postboy, you say that you
Yeah.
you made it during the Great Confinement, and I love that.
Oh my God, I'm so dramatic. God. But I suppose, yeah, I mean, it's funny, that's a little throwback to, I think, I can't remember if it was a friend of mine, I think, it's Duncan Park. I don't know if he said it, but I think he said it. He talked about the Great Confinement. And in fact, Duncan Park has actually done a podcast on Sludge Underground way back.
Yes.
And he and I wrote okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, he remembers you guys. And like, so he and I actually in university, we like met and we became friends. And 6 months later, we had recorded like 3 albums together. And so he's such a good friend of mine. He's weird. He's interesting. He's a damn good guitarist and singer. And so he mentioned the Great Confinement, and I think I just wanted to use that word in Piccolo Postboy.
Dude, I think it's insane that you're mates with Duncan Park though, dude. Like, what small world, dude. Like, how did you guys meet?
Well, I mean, he was studying. It's funny, dude. The music, the cosmos, the web of the music world in like South Africa is so interesting because like I remember the first band I ever was in when I was like 19, 18. We were playing at this like Grahamstown or Makanda Burning Man, and there was this dude, like skinny dude, and he's like, dude, can I play your drums before your gig? And his band is playing, and we're like, cool. But he was like, I don't know if you know Duncan Park now. I mean, he's quite chill, but back then he was a bit of a loose cannon. And this dude was sitting there. I think he had like one sock on, and he had like he was super skinny, like God, so skinny. And he was just hitting the drums so hard, and like he broke the drum kit, and he carried on playing. and just slashed with the point of the stick the snare drum, and just carried on playing. And it was this huge beef. Like Grahamstown back then, or like Makanda, is like, it's a small town, and so if there's beef, like you see each other at like the supermarket, you like turn the other way. And it was just, our relationship started with us not digging each other, and it turns out that we were actually destined to become like best friends and like make some beautiful music together. So yeah, it all ends well in the end.
Dude, you mentioned making music together, dude? Would you? Is it something that you got released? Is it is it archived somewhere? Like,
So yeah, it's released, but it's like how would I put it? Like I put it this way. Back then we just had a microphone and we recorded, and some of our takes were ambitious. Some of our tracks, we had like 20 tracks, like, or 20 vocal tracks, like crazy harmonies and shit, but like with one mic. So we'd mic up my guitar, play that, mic up his guitar, play that, like just track after track, and we built these crazy scapes. So like the sound quality is lacking, but if you can get past that, honestly, some of the best stuff I've ever recorded, just like compositionally, lyrically, like we made full-on concept albums.
yeah.
Oh, so dope.
Dude, I think I'm one of the people who wants to listen to that. Where did you guys put it up?
It's on SoundCloud, and it's called, if I remember correctly, it's just Dave Glover and Duncan Park. Let's check that out. Yeah.
I'm gonna note it down right now, bro. Definitely gonna check that.
Yeah, I'll send you a message on WhatsApp after this or something. I'll drop you all the links.
I'm writing it down.
Oh, you guys! Oh, I love it, dude. Duncan's gonna be so happy.
No, I feel robbed. I feel robbed right now because I thought I had found everything.
Oh, well,
So,
there's always something.
No, I feel robbed and excited at the same time.
Good.
Yeah, there's more. That's the important part.
There's more. Yeah, and there's lots. There's lots on that.
Speaking of more, can you tell us about Kekente music, if I'm pronouncing that correctly?
Ah, you are pronouncing it correct. Oh, Keke is going to be so keen. Okay, so you remember earlier I was talking about friends of mine that I like went to school with, grew up with, who I admire musically, and especially in the beat production area, producing music. He's one of them. And I mean, as a kid, I was just a rock and roller, man. Like, I just wanted to be Kurt Cobain. I wanted to be Tom York. Like, that was my dream. So much so that I resisted anything production-wise, like any beats. I remember, like, just being like, that's not real music. Like, cutting samples, that ain't real music. And, like, that was just some jaded little angsty, like, white boy teenager bullshit, like... But as I've got older, like, I mean, these guys, my friends, have been going down that production road for like a decade now, I suppose. And I've just gotten into it. And so whenever I've written stuff recently, I've sent it to them. Kekente is one of them. And dude, production-wise, he's on it. His production is just so crisp, so clean. I mean, he's probably going to listen to this and be like, oh, Dave, stop. But... yeah, no, I admire his stuff, and he's actually played the bass lines on a few of the tracks that like are Tamagotchi. So like, and he sometimes mastered some of my stuff. So he's very much involved in the project.
Isn't he on Mango Morse Code?
Yeah, he is. He played the bass line for that, and he also mastered that track, I think. Yeah.
I saw that there's a hidden message, and then I saw that I had to wait to figure it out. So
okay, well, I mean, you guys just heard it, but you didn't. Okay, so that message. Oh my gosh, I trolled so many people with that. So the song's called Mango Morse Code, and how that arrived was I was sitting at home, and I just released Miami Vice, and I was kind of like ready to do another track, and I spoke to my friend Georgina. She's a drama student. I mean, she does amazing choreography. And I was like, dude, okay, I'm going to give you a challenge. Just give me a random title and I'm going to write a song. And she's like, okay, cool. And she was like, I got two, Bougainvillea Dreaming and Mango Morse Code. I'm like, okay, stop right there. I got it. So she gave it to me and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, damn, okay. And I just like had this little synth thing. And I was like, damn, that's cool. But what really made that thing pop was the secret message, kind of made the title relevant. And I'm going to spoil it right now. But in the background, there's like a little guitar part that just goes like beep, 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 beep. And that is Morse code for something. And if you, like, I had friends and I had people on my Instagram who messaged me like, dude, you made me learn Morse code for this shit. Like, you literally made me learn Morse code. But I won't tell you what it says. You guys can figure that out yourselves.
Naz and I are going to have the most cryptic conversations about this because we were just talking about how, like, musicians sometimes leave crumbs for us to figure out. And, like, it's a total trip.
Yeah, dude. I actually surprised. So, like, one person legit got it. One. And honestly, I was expecting no one to get it. And one person got it. And I'll just tell you her reaction so you guys don't get too excited. She was, she was kind of bummed. I mean, she was stoked she got it, but she was just like, you bastard. Like, it's just so... It's a troll. I'll be honest, it's a troll.
It's a comment on our ability to inject
Yeah, it's
meaning
nothing
into
clever.
everything.
That's what I'm saying. It's nothing clever.
The casual nature of it makes it even more clever to me. So
Yeah, and with that song, it's weird. Like, that was, I mean, it's like, what's that got? Like, auto-tune, man. Like, it was like, I remember being like, damn, I just want to sing like something with auto-tune, and I got this auto-tuner, and this is what this project, Tamagotchi-JEEZUS, has been amazing for. Being in a rock band, you know, you are limited. It's like what I spoke about earlier. But I don't listen just to like rock, man. I listen to not everything, but a lot. My palette is diverse, and with this, I'm able to access like so much. For me, it feels like I feel like there's nothing off the table. So like when I thought like, man, I wouldn't mind trying autotune, boom, I could do it. You know, I mean, if I tried autotune in the rock and roll scene, like, gosh, like, can you imagine the blowback? But yeah, and I wanted to write a song that like people could like, and this is what I told myself to make love to. I was like, you know, I wanted to make something like fucking like that R&B, that kickback, that Frank Ocean kind of stuff. And for me, that's liberating. Like with art, like I'm having a great time doing it. At times when I'm writing songs, like that one in particular, I sat down, found two chords, and I did not get away until I'd like finished it. Basically, the whole day I was in like full on flow state. Felt like I was on hella drugs. Like, I mean, that's how I describe making music, like that flow state. It's like nothing you'll ever experience. It's wild.
Dude, you know, just speaking on what you were mentioning there about, you know, your palette sort of, you know, listening to a wide range of music and stuff, and actually just talking about the backlash you'd get if you actually use autotune in a band.
Yeah.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
actually like surprised when I actually found out that you actually are in a band, because my introduction to you was as Tamagotchi. And then to find that, you know,
Yeah.
there's some band activity there was just like, wait, what? Like, what?
Yeah, you turn.
It like,
So that you know, it's interesting you bring that up.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's been me for 10 years prior to this. Yeah.
damn, bro.
But with that, like, this project has been like a separation in a way from that. I got towards the end of that, playing in that band, when I just started going from like hardcore rock, shifting it down to like jazz fusion, shifting it down to like R&B, shifting it down, and like reducing my technique. I mean, I could play technically difficult stuff. I just kept on dropping it, and making it simple to that like pop R&B, to the point where my drummer, who's like this Argentinian guy who loves to like let rip. He's a very talented guy. He can play a lot of different genres, but he'd be like, yeah, you know, you're only like playing 4 chords in like every time you play a song, it's like 2 chords. That's it, you know. And it was an interesting observation from him, because it made me realize that I was like withdrawing into like less is more, or trying like more pop, more R&B. Yeah, for me, it's I'm at home. I feel like I'm at home with this project.
And you know, would you say, you know, there's just sort of on that with the band and stuff, you know, are you still mates? Are you guys still sort of jamming at all, or
Oh yeah.
or is it just now?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I still see Julian, the drummer. I mean, he still lives here, and we jam. We still jam, and we were in another band. Here, like, I mean, let me just put this backing screen off so you can see. So it's like a little in the background. I don't know if you can see that guitar there, that metal
Yeah.
body. That's like an antique piece. It sounds crazy. It sounds like you're playing straight out of the Mississippi Delta. So we play in another band that like plays, you know, like blues and stuff. So I still get to play with him. Steve, the bassist from the other band, like he's now, I think he's in Durban. I think he's he's in KZN, and he's like got his dream job. So like we don't play much. The last time we played was at a music festival in New Year's, and it was dope. It was kind of like a send off. We knew it was like one of the last times, and honestly, don't want to boast, but we brought the house down. It's amazing.
Would you ever sort of, I mean, do you ever miss sort of playing in a band, bro, and sort of, you know, being on stage
yeah.
and sharing it with other musicians?
For sure. I mean, that is a special thing. I mean, I feel like, you've done it, surely. I mean, I don't know if you both have, but it's like magic, dude. It's magic being up there, and if you're on it, if you're playing good, playing well, that's dope. If you're playing something and like the crowd is singing along, that's even like extra special, you know. Or they're just jamming, having a great time. That is what I was talking about earlier. That used to feed me. We were never a band of ego, and I don't want to. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people say that, but we really weren't. Like we weren't in our band. It was like 3 people. No one is the front. I might be the singer and the guitarist, but it's like genuinely we were like. We wrote songs. When we toured, everything was like equals. Let's chat, you know. So that was, for me, what really fueled us, I think, was just like people loving our stuff. You know, we just wanted people to have a good time. I still feel that way. And so I'm not getting that now. But I do hope in the near future to be able to get a band once maybe this takes off a bit more. I don't know. If people are interested, like get a band that'll play behind this. Like this... For me, screams live. It screams live music. Can you imagine a show like this, visually wild? Would you like considering not just the sonic experience, but the visual experience? Like we're in 2020, where we don't even listen to music anymore. We watch it. We watch music. And some people are super cynical about this. I know this old guy, a saxophone player, fucking wild guy. He's jaded. He doesn't dig that, and I can understand it. But for me, I love it. I love having the visual, I love having the sonic, and I love that marriage. You're moving on today. Got that feeling, baby.
What's for dinner, bro? What are you chowing?
I'm chowing. It's very healthy, very healthy. It's Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and like feta cheese.
Nice,
Yeah.
dude. Did you cook that yourself, bro?
No, I can't take any credit. My roommate did.
Oh, damn. Dude, I can't cook for shit, dude. So we're... Okay, I don't know if you can't cook for shit either, but I guess we kind of on the same boat when it comes to people making chow.
Dude.
That we do.
Look, I mean, cooking is something like not everyone should. I suppose everyone should cook, but I mean, like, not everyone can cook real good, and that's okay. That's, I mean, you know what I mean?
It's an art, dude.
It's an art form.
I mean, dude, you basically cooking up some dope music. So it's
cooking
sort
up
of like
some
you're cooking
beats.
as well.
Boom.
You're
But that
cooking
being
as well,
said,
dude. It counts.
I do love to cook. I can't cook like I don't cook like fancy stuff, but the stuff I do cook, I think I cook good.
Dude, I was, before we left, I was wanting to sort of just gauge, if there is, according to you, would you say there is a difference, between David Glover and Tamagotchi?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That is a very interesting question. Because even before this interview, I was wondering how I was going to arrive. Who was I going to be? And in like art school, I've played performance before. I've done performance art, which is, those who have done performance art or been in character, or it's next level, dude. It's like you are someone or something that is partly yourself, but also so this character is also not you, and sometimes the character will take over and like direct the performance. And for me, I love that. I love being able to get close to something like that. And I would say right now, I'm both. I'm both that guy, Dave Glover, but also this other dude. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm even speaking slightly different. And the more I jump headfirst into this, the more I want that to happen, which is quite scary. Because if I was performing out like in a pub or a club or whatever, I would commit to that. I'd commit to this character like the whole way through. That's me. This is Tamagotchi-JEEZUS. It's not Dave Glover. Like this is someone different. There are parts of Dave Glover here, for sure. That'll never go away. But it's scary to commit that deep, because if you're forced to play the character long enough, you start to blur that line. Which when do you start identifying as Tamagotchi-JEEZUS or Dave Glover? When and where is that line? So at the moment, I would say I'm slipping in between both. Online, my online presence, 100%. That's Tamagotchi-JEEZUS, 100%. Right now, you've had a bit of both, I would say, and it's interesting. It fascinates me. It's something I've always been into. Interesting things can happen, but for sure, like lived experience wise, when I talk about Lush and I say stuff like I've always experimented with like bending gender normative stuff, and like that has to come from some lived experience, and that is Dave's lived experience. That's his lived experience. But he's just doing shit that he would never probably do. Tamagotchi's allowing that space.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because you also mentioned earlier that for about an entire year before you dropped, a project and what, you were out in the streets, you went all out, dude, and you were dressing up. Would you say that sort of everyone's you introducing Tamagotchi to the world?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly what that was finding the character. I mean, I wanted to make sure that I knew who I was, who this was, before I started letting other, like, the internet people see or make tunes, Still finding out who that is, what voice that is. But the performance for sure, when I was going out with my mate, like he and I kind of, I'd say, developed this together over a period of a year, where everyone around us thought we were just talking shit. They literally like, yeah, Tamagotchi-JEEZUS, cool name, whatever. Like, when are we going to see that? Nah, never. But honestly, it's been the best process-wise for me, for the music and for the visuals to marry authentically. Like that's performance when it feels right. It doesn't feel forced, And yeah, that's where I feel like I'm sitting now. It's getting less forced. It's feeling more right,
And just on that point, before I pass on to Megan, just quickly, you mentioned, cool name or whatnot. What is behind the name Tamagotchi?
I was wondering if you're going to ask that question, and I was also wondering if I was going to answer that question. There is a reason. There definitely is a reason. I don't know. I think I might leave that one for a while. It's nothing crazy, but I don't want the magic to get ruined. But there's definitely a story behind that. Maybe I'll drop that later, one of these days. I'll give it to you on the next one. How's that? Next time we have a podcast, I might even drop it in a little, like a sneak peek in a song somewhere. You might get a song with a story.
We were talking about the transition from being a live performing artist to a bedroom artist. And I was wondering, like, is that sort of what you get to talk about in Petals, that loneliness?
Yeah. So Petals for me it's a weird love song for sure. Like, it's your atypical sad love song. Flowers, how does it go? Flowers don't stay the same, petals fall every day. I know you're going to find your way. Like, very, very run-of-the-mill kind of like rhyming but still kind of got that nice motif of the petals, the sensitive, that soft masculinity, which I love. In a way, I wanted to write a love song or a breakup song for everyone. I wanted everyone to feel that feeling. You know, we people who have had relationships or had long-term relationships or whatever, like, you change. You're changing. Like, the person you are now might not be the same person you were a year ago or 5 years ago or whatever, when you were with another person, when it felt so good. You know, those petals are falling, those petals are changing, but you're still that flower. And the image might sound a little bit twee, and for me, I wanted people to listen to that, and I wanted anyone who's had a breakup to kind of feel the sadness, the loss, but also feel, I wanted that healthy response, that kind of like, I know you're going to find your way, and that's kind of like, okay, like, I'm also going to find my way. It's not like the movie's going to say, you know, like, yeah. And I think that's a healthy response, like, for men and women, and for women and women, and men, any kind of relationship you're into is like, I understand the hurt, and that often leads with people ending up being like hating each other at the end of a relationship. But you forget that you love that person, you know, like, that person was as intimately close to you as you possibly could get, and then all of a sudden you might never speak to them again, and that for me is a tragedy. I'm not saying you have to reconcile or be friends afterwards, but for me, I just want people to also, because that's how I feel sometimes with people who even still don't speak to me to this day. Like, I have care, and I respect the care they gave me, and I want them to have a good time. So that is kind of where that song came from. But I really like your take. You were talking about that change, and I suppose it might not be exactly what I was thinking at the time, but that's also what the song should be. It's ambiguous. So it's all about change. It's about becoming something different, something new, and that's fine. That's okay, you know.
Yeah, I think even when you were talking about finding a balance between the dominant sort of personality between Tamagotchi-JEEZUS and Dave Glover, I'm wondering if there's space for fluidity in that, you know? Maybe it's not about an either or. Maybe it's about what is the interplay of both, you know? Because that's what I hear and that's what I see.
You guys should be getting paid big bucks, man.
Like, it's about the both.
Yeah, I mean, that's bang on. I mean, as you are saying that, I'm just nodding my head, and you guys must realize this is the first time I felt confident enough to have my voice, this voice heard, you know. And this is new territory for me, but it's feeling organic, and I'm trusting that. No, and for you guys to observe that, both of you have mentioned it, which I find interesting, and I'm kind of like looking at this like myself through your eyes, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, Meeks. Like, yeah, it can be both, and there can be that tension between, and there's freedom in that, like, big time, you know.
When was the sort of deciding factor? Like, was there any moment that made you say, okay, I'm gonna do it? Or was it a slow, like, unraveling?
Gonna do what? Just this whole project.
Yeah.
You know, it's been sitting in me for longer. I mean, I guess subconsciously for longer than I thought. With the last band, I kept on starting to, like, wanting to express myself in a certain way. And I started wearing this crazy, like, pink wig, and started wearing, like, lipstick, but, like, not as a uniform, but it started, like, starting to twist into that. And initially, the other guys in the band were like, cool, that's just Dave doing his crazy thing. And they started joining, and it became an aesthetic. And we started to explore how aesthetics in music started to work, but also freedom of not kind of prescribing to the black leather jacket, the hardcore, you know, grizzly, not showing emotion type. I'm not saying everyone in the music industry or the rock and roll industry is, but it was a nice U-turn to that. It was a nice, like, middle finger to the norm, and that freedom we felt there. Like, that's when it started. And I mean, in my art school days, that also, I was like playing with that. But it was when I came back from South Korea, and at the time, I guess I was going through like a tough time adjusting back, you know, and I loved being back, and it was this weird feeling of where the familiar of South Africa, my home, which I was so thankful to be back, like back home, it also felt strange. It felt familiar and strange at the same time, where it kind of threw me into this weird space. And through that, I started like, it's like maybe it was a bit of a fracture, I don't know, but this character kind of just basically forced itself out. It kind of forced its way out. I found these glasses, and then bam, started happening.
Would you say your visit to South Korea had any, influence on the person that we're seeing right now? And I mean, just on top of that, bro, like, why did you go to South Korea? Was it sort of like just to visit, sightseeing? What was the inspiration behind that?
So, okay, yes, to answer your first part of the question, absolutely. I think I would be foolish to say the person you're seeing now is definitely informed by that. And the reason why is because going to South Korea, I wanted to go to work somewhere in a culturally uncomfortable and different place where I didn't know the language, I didn't have any friends there. Because I've lived in Makanda my whole life, man. Like, small town Grahamstown, you know everybody. Like I said earlier, you go to the Pick and Pay, you will see everybody, Your friends are still there, they tend to come back, it's very comfortable. I wanted to kind of throw myself in the deep end, like from a small town boy, big city life, new culture, new country, new language. And I got what I've fucking asked for. It was hard. It was hard. The first 6 months, I remember it was like something out of a movie. I looked in the mirror and I was like, you've made a big mistake. Like, I literally said those words. It sounds almost comical, but I was looking at myself in the mirror and I said that a few times. And then I slowly started to let go and like engage with this. It's important. It's important to be in a place where culturally you're not familiar. South Africa might have a multitude of cultures, but that is kind of familiar to us. This culture out there was just so different. Turn me inside out, man. It's a culture where it's homogenous. There's one language, one culture, really, in one country. The antithesis of South Africa, the opposite, if you can imagine. And I met this Korean guy who didn't wear the right clothes, that everyone else was wearing, and didn't shave his face the way he was like, dude, this is social suicide. People they cast me up just because of that. And so in South Korea, I had to suppress huge parts of my personality, the bubbly, the loud, the eccentric, I guess the sort of gender fluid side of myself, and that for 2 years. And I didn't realize how much I was suppressing down there, sitting in the subway and just living my life. I came back here and I think it just had to come out, And so, yeah, to answer your question, that was a long answer, but yeah, for sure. That definitely informed what you're seeing today.
So do you think being forced to sort of filter yourself for so long made you almost purge as soon as you could?
Yeah, I felt that. Damn. Yeah, purge. I felt like I needed to purge. I needed to release. But it didn't come straight away. I remember arriving and just feeling bizarre. Feeling I don't know how to get there. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I was looking at my old life through a lens backwards and feeling like everything else had moved on slightly, but only slightly. Enough for me to feel like I didn't fully belong. But that dissipated, thank goodness, because I do love it here, and I mean, man, I remember looking out in South Africa and just weeping, just crying, looking how beautiful, and out of just complete, it was such a surreal feeling, just weeping at just being home. And that is something I also did kind of want to go away to feel. I wanted that experience out, out of my home,
Yeah, I guess we sort of need to be pulled out completely in order to appreciate what we actually have and what we consider to belong to us.
Yeah, it definitely makes you realize a whole bunch about and the complexities too. I mean, it's not like you come back and it's just fucking rose tinted glass, it's not just everything's perfect. I mean, you've got to be critical always, self-critical, which is, I mean, that's just something I think we all have to have a bit more of. but especially like being a white person in South Africa, dude. Like, I know I brought it up earlier, but it is something that I bring it up not to be preachy, but it's something that I've become aware of thanks to many good people in my life who have been patient with me and explained it. But I mean, since then, I kind of hope and I try where I can to like at least explain my experience and help others like me, like I guess see things differently. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing that I also just noticed about, in terms of just going back to your music now, in 2020 you'll find that a lot of people are basically shifting, more towards the Spotify route, Apple Music and whatnot. But even on your page, like on your Instagram, the main link there, takes you straight to SoundCloud. So why
Yeah.
why would you say sort of SoundCloud? Why is that the case, bro?
It wasn't a conscious thing. It wasn't like I was like, okay, I'm deliberately choosing SoundCloud to like, not like support the whole Spotify thing. I don't know. I think it just felt right, especially in the beginning stages when I have been doing this for myself, but also wanting people to hear it. And maybe a lack of confidence of the product, like of the like production value. But at the end of the day, I actually would like it to be on those easier accessible places. Not because I want to be making money off Spotify, because that's quite hard to do as a musician. I mean, even if you get 1 million plays, it's not that much. But I want it on there just so there's access, because I have this annoying habit that my friends will vouch for this, is that I want to show people, I want to show every single person, everybody, I want to show what I've been working on, what I'm doing. And it's not, I'm sure it comes across as a look at me kind of thing, but it's not that. It's more like wanting to share this thing that I feel so like close to. I have one friend who I always try and show stuff. Always the worst times, it's just like, Dave, not now. So, yeah, I think I will get it on Spotify eventually, just so more people can listen to it. Because like everyone's on Spotify, I think, like from my perspective. I don't know what you guys, like how your guys' Spotify listens versus your SoundCloud spins. I mean, is there a difference?
I think my answer might differ from Megan's one. I was on Spotify for some time, and I found that it's sort of, it was a really cool platform, but at the same time it's sort of like, if I really enjoy the music that a person makes, it doesn't really matter to me what platform it's on. Like I remember, the first time that I discovered or came across your posts on Instagram, dude, and I found the Jews,
Yeah.
found that, bro, and I was just like, it led me on to then the other stuff that you'd posted, and then I was just looking for the music, like trying to search you up, looked you up on Spotify, and it was like, okay, it's not there. And then I went on SoundCloud, and I had to check there, and fortunately I found it. And then I found myself sort of doing workouts and going to gym, dude, while listening
Oh my
to
God.
your
That is
music.
just
So for me,
music to my ears.
yeah, bro. So like I say, I feel like if you enjoy that particular artist and maybe they're not available on a certain platform, you just go and you find them on the platform that they're on. But that's just my take. I don't know about Meeks.
For me, it's about trying to see two things. One, which platforms support their creators with as much like fairness as possible, and which platforms provide the best listening experience, like as an attainable listener. I would love it if people listen to me regularly, but there's kind of like attention is a currency, and there are only 24 hours in a day. So like you have to fight for someone to listen to you or pay attention to you for an hour. Like that's long.
Yeah. That attention as currency is on the money. Like on the money. So, which is also why we watch music now as well. It's because we need all the stimuli all the time, but for a short time. Like we don't release albums often anymore. I mean, that's like on artistic luxury. You know, I mean, I don't even know when I last listened to an album from start to finish, and I used to do that all the time, like way back. So, which is why actually I went to the Instagram route, like mostly. That's my chief. I would say that's my platform, and I know it's not the best music platform, but it's like it makes sense with that thing you brought up with the currency and attention. Like for me, it works. That's the best like parcel that fits my stuff for sure.
Yeah, we need the packaging in order to actually click that link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we expect, an album from you, bro, in future at all?
You know what I'm looking at for me even? Like I'm always like finishing something and it's going like another complete direction all the time. But I would like to do an EP. I'm trying to make a visual / audio EP where like every second of audio will have a second of visuals. So it's going to be like a little visual sonic experience. And that's kind of what I'm trying to build up to. And actually what I'll show you in the background here, only you guys get a sneak peek, but it's like,
Yeah.
this is I'm working on something, guys, and I'm honestly, dude, this next track is like, I got to work with Francois Knutzer, who also is from this town, so believe it or not. And his young was in my first band. And man, he makes the most amazing suits. These crazy art like suits, and he's, in my opinion, a very successful artist. I mean, you know, he gets funding, he goes all around the world. Still a hard life, but I mean, he's doing the things. And he came down recently, and he made some suits, and he allowed me to use them for this next video. Feel very privileged. Also very excited, and also the track is super dope as well. It's for me, it's the best work I've done so far.
Shalom did Cream Soda Fever Dream visual, right?
Yeah, he filmed that, and we edited that together. It was great having his advice, and like I learned a lot from him. And he also played like the bass. Actually, he's an amazing musician himself. He doesn't release as much as he should, in my opinion. But man, that guy's talented. So yeah, I've got like friends that are just like, they blow me away. They're just like artists, musicians, the whole bang shoot, you know?
I want to know about quarantine radio.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh man, I love it. Were you just sitting on my Instagram page and been like, I'm watching this.
I was sitting on all the pages, watching all the things.
Oh, I love it. So I love like a lot of old school stuff. A lot of old school, like weird, well, some would call it cheesy, but like, you know, like cheesy music from like the 70s, 80s, like when we were playing in the old band, like a lot of funk, you know. And these guys, the Cool Notes, have this song that's like all night long. Dun, 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 dun. And I was just like, man, I just want to fucking, for the first time ever, because I never did samples. I was always like, I can't. I'll just play the music. And I was like, I'm going to try and make a sample. And I wanted to make this weird, like, Xanaxed out version of this, like, happy, like, 70s, 80s, like, track. And, like, just cut it from, like, the happy side, drop it, like, zoo, and, like, drop it real down. And I was using footage from, like, my good friends just having a party. Again, it's like, that was one that I just made when I was just feeling like wanting to make something, just like creative, and I popped it out. Like, that's not even a song, I would say. I just kind of had some fun, but visually fun to make, and also like sonically fun as well.
How much planning do you do for this? Like, do you do deep, intense, conceptual, like brainstorming, or do you just show up and say, like, what can we make today? Like, I saw UFO and I just wondered. I was like, does this person wake up?
Yeah,
fall
do I just push
onto,
buttons like beep beep boop,
an
boop? Oh, that
808
sounds
and
nice. Sometimes,
Yeah.
yes. Wake up, pick up a MIDI keyboard and just be like, yeah. I mean, sometimes, yes. Like, I mean, that stuff from way back was that UFO one. I mean, I was just wanting to, yeah, all those things. Like, there are times when I just want to put something out. And that was called UFO just because it sounded like a trippy arpeggio, like a UFO, weird shit, you know. And for that, visually, I just kind of let it go. I kind of let the camera go. I let myself go. And even back then, I mean, I was still figuring stuff out. But yeah, I think there are times, it sounds odd, but often I'll write songs and lyrics on a first take. It's like something I like to try. And I just had a mate who's a singer come down and do a vocal track. And I was like, dude, here's the track. Don't overthink it. We're going to do 3 dry takes where, you know, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. You just do lyrics that pop into your head. And I find there's an immediacy in that where, like, maybe that first dry take, it's just like mumbling, and then like 30% of it, they strike gold. It's kind of like the stream of consciousness thing. And your brain, if you let it, often can actually pull stuff up, like subconsciously, that surprises you, you know. And that process often, more often than not, is how I write lyrics. So I do a few dry takes and I'll find something. And that's why these songs are so close to me, because I'm letting my subconscious, I'll sift through that awkward phase of me mumbling and trying to like make lyrics, but then it will just suddenly pop out and something that I'm like, whoa, shit, that's it. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that. And then I'll work on it from there. And sometimes the dry take is just so good, I just keep it in. Like the original first track when I'm just sitting mumbling into my microphone. So it's not a very refined process. And I think some people probably get annoyed or will be annoyed at me for saying that, but that is kind of my vocal process, at least.
Wow. It's interesting to hear that you sort of started at a more constructed place and then you found those genres constricting, and then you branched out into like this automation and like flow state process. And you know, that is so interesting.
I mean, there've been times when I've looked at my guitar and it honestly makes me sick to look at it. I've just been like, every time I pick it up, I know what I'm going to play. I'm not saying that I know exactly what I'm going to play, but I know what to expect from me. And forcing myself into beat production and samples and stuff kind of made me feel like a baby again, musically. Things were exciting and they were tricky. My vision in my head was a lot harder to realize. And through that, like, it becomes like a love is renewed. And so for me, musically, this has just opened it up wide open again. And so, yeah, I'm the happiest I've ever been musically. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah. It sounds like the feelings you describe from when you first started using production and when you first went to South Korea and when you first started sort of expressing yourself more fully. It sounds like you are on the precipice of change and that like the discomfort of growth. You know, it's interesting to see that like there are almost cycles.
Yeah.
And like each cycle produces a type of music.
Yeah. And I'm a believer in that. I've always described like my experience of music as going through those cycles you're talking about. Like I usually use the image of wave, like a graph of waves, ups and dips and sort of peaks. And I know that when I'm feeling stagnant, like, and sometimes those stagnant sections, those dips are long, where it almost feels hopeless. But I know now, and I've started to realize that I know what's coming next. As soon as that stagnation dissipates, it's going to fucking explode. And it's so exciting when it does. It's just like, oh my, like you just start doing things like you never thought you could do. And that is exciting to know. So even if I have another dip, I know what's coming, and that's going to be like some dope shit.
We have 3 minutes left.
3 minutes.
And Naz was on 5% the last time we checked. So
should we just call it a good thing and end here? Yeah. How about we end it off? I mean, I guess there's no time like the present. But guys, I would love to say thank you so much for having me. I mean, gosh, you guys really did your homework. And to be honest, I've never had an interviewer in all my 10 years of playing live. Two people that have done, I've taken the care, and it's super nice. So thank you so much. Be professional. Love it. And hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, dude, no, thank you so much for being on the show, dude. I think it would be a sin to let you go without getting you to give us sort of an a cappella.
Let me try something. I'm gonna try beatbox, and it might sound like trash, but let's try. Oh, shit. Tamagotchi.
Oh!
That was whack. Oh, dude. Well, that was fun.
Sludge, you're the first person to ever beatbox.
Well, at least I can say I'm the best and the worst at beatboxing on Sludge Underground.
Set the precedent.
Before we let you go, bro, let us know where we can get in touch with you, bro. All your handles, your music, everything.
Okay, so guys, as we've said it a little bit in this podcast, SoundCloud, it's Tamagotchi-JEEZUS, spelt Geezus, Jesus. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, also Tamagotchi-JEEZUS. Yeah, just type me into the search bar on Google. They'll do the rest. Yeah, and leave a like, follow, all that shit helps, But yeah, thanks guys. It's been grand. You guys are the best. Love ya.
Thank you guys so much. This was really amazing. And I don't know, how much time do you have left? Do you have time to plug ourselves as the show and Meegs and everything?
Boom. Let's spin that shit.
How much time do you have left?
Boom, bam.
It's going. The time is now.
Okay.
Okay, Meegs, who are you online?
Instagram at @LemonDoveDuo or @MegaKing.
Sludge Underground. On Twitter, it's at
Less than a
Sludge51.
minute.
On Instagram, at Sludge Underground. On Facebook, at Sludge Underground.
Go.
Everywhere on bloody Spotify, Sludge Underground Podcast, Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, it's Sludge Underground Podcast, and SoundCloud, Sludge Underground Podcast. Thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Feel a little sad sometimes, feel a little mad sometimes too. But I had it all since I was born. So why do I feel sad? Why do I feel mad too? I've had it all since before I was born. Feel a little sad sometimes, feel a little mad sometimes too. But I had it all since I was born. So why do I feel sad? Why do I feel mad too?
Nice.